Hello, as I said earlier, I am going to be reading Hosea 6 through 10 today. I have my jasmine tea ready, so that's nice, and as usual, I'm in my pajamas. So I'm going to take a big swig of water, and then we're going to get started with this. Alright. Starting in Hosea 6. Gonna tilt the camera up a little more. Okay, there we go. Come, let us return to the Lord, for he has torn us, that he may heal us. He has struck us down, and he will bind us up. After 2 days he will revive us. On the third day he will raise us up, that we may live before him. Let us press on to know the Lord. Hello to whoever just joined. I can't see my screen super well. His going out is sure as the dawn. He will come to us as the showers, as the spring rains that water the earth. What shall I do with you, O Ephraim? What shall I do with you, O Judah? Your love is like a morning cloud, like the dew that goes early away. Therefore I have hewn them by the prophets. I have slain them by the words of my mouth. And my judgment goes forth as the light, for I desire steadfast love and not sacrifice, the knowledge of God rather than burnt offerings. But like Adam, they transgressed the covenant. There they dealt faithlessly with me. Gilead is a city of evildoers, tracked with blood. As robbers lie in wait for a man, so the priests band together. They murder on the way to Shechem. They commit villainy. In the house of Israel I have seen horrible things. Hey Renee, hey Jen, thank you guys for joining in. Ephraim's whoredom is there, Israel is defiled. For you also, O Judah, a harvest is appointed, when I restore the fortune of my people. Hosea 7. When I would heal Israel, the iniquity of Ephraim is revealed, and the evil deeds of Samaria. For they deal falsely. The thief breaks in, and the bandits raid out. For they do not consider that I remember all their evil. Now their deeds surround them. They are before my face. By their evil they make the king glad, and the princes by their treachery. They are all adulterers. Excuse me, I lost my place. They are like a heated oven whose baker ceases to stir the fire, from the kneading of the dough until it is leavened. On the day of our king, the princes become sick with the heat of wine. He stretched out his hand with mockers, for with hearts like an oven they approach their intrigue. All night their anger smolders. In the morning it blazes like a flaming fire. All of them are hot as an oven. For they devour their rulers, and their kings have fallen, and none of them calls upon me. Ephraim mixes himself with the peoples. Ephraim is like a cake not turned. Strangers devour his strength, and he knows it not. The pride of Israel testifies to his face. Yet they do not return to the Lord their God, nor seek him for all this. Ephraim is like a dove, silly and without sense. Calling to Egypt, going to Assyria, as they go, I will spread over them my net. I will bring them down like birds of the heavens. I will discipline them according to their report made to their congregation. Woe to them, for they have strayed from me. Destruction to them, for they have rebelled against me. Hello, Trent. How are you today? I would redeem them, but they speak lies against me. They do not cry to me from my heart, but they wail upon their beds. For grain and wine they gash themselves. They rebel against me. Although I trained and strengthened their arms, yet they devise evil against me. They return, but not upwards. They are like a treacherous bow. Their princes shall fall by the sword. Because of their insolence of their tongue, this shall be their derision in the land of Egypt. Ooh, that's hot. Hosea chapter 8. Set the trumpet to your lips. One like a vulture is over the house of the Lord, because they have transgressed my covenant, and rebelled against my law. To me they cry, my God, we Israel know you. Israel has spurned the good, the enemy shall pursue him. They made kings, but not through me. They set up princes, but I knew it not. wind turned my page. With their silver and gold they made idols for their own destruction. I have spurned your calf, O Samaria. My anger burns against them. How long will they be incapable of innocence? For it is from Israel that craftsman is made. It is not God. A calf of Samaria shall be broken to pieces, for they sow the wind, and they shall reap the whirlwind. The standing grain has no heads. It shall yield no flour. If it were to yield, strangers would devour it. Israel is swallowed up already. They are among the nations as a useless vessel. For they have gone up to Assyria, a wild donkey, wandering alone. Ephraim is hired lovers. Though they hire allies among the nations, I will soon gather them up, and the king and princes shall soon writhe because of the tribute. Because Ephraim has multiplied altars for sinning, they have become to him... Oh my gosh, the wind is just not agreeing with me today. Because Ephraim has multiplied altars for sinning, they have become to him altars for sinning. Were I to write for him my laws by the 10,000, they would be regarded as a strange thing. As for my sacrificial offerings, they sacrifice meat and eat it. But the Lord does not accept them. Now he will remember their iniquity and punish their sins. They shall return to Egypt, for Israel has forgotten his maker and built palaces, and Judah has multiplied fortified cities. So I will send fire upon his cities, and I shall devour her strongholds. Curtis, thank you for going in. Jessica, it's nice to talk to you again. We are in Hosea chapter 9 now, although I'm going to take a drink. The sun came up and it just got really warm. Rejoice not, O Israel. Exult not like the peoples. For you have played the whore, forsaking your God. You have loved a prostitute's wage on all threshing floors. Threshing floor and wine vats shall not feed them, and the new wine shall fail them. They shall not remain in the land of the Lord, but Ephraim shall return to Egypt, and they shall eat unclean foods in Assyria. They shall not pour drink offerings of wine to the Lord, and their sacrifices shall not please him. It shall be like mourners' bread to them. All who eat of it shall be defiled. For their bread shall be for their hunger only. It shall not come to the house of the Lord. What will you do on the day of the appointed festival, on the day of the feast of the Lord? For behold, they are going away from destruction. But Egypt shall gather them, Memphis shall bury them. Nettles shall possess their precious things of silver. Thorns shall be in their tents. The days of punishment have come, the days of recompense have come. Israel shall know it. The prophet is a fool, the man of the spirit is mad. Because of your great iniquity and great hatred, the prophet is the watchman of Ephraim, with my God. Yet a fowler snail is on all his ways, and hatred in the house of his God. They have deeply corrupted themselves, as in the days of Gibeah. He will remember their iniquities, and he will punish their sins. Like grapes in the wilderness I found Israel, like the first fruit on the fig tree in its first season. I saw your fathers, but they came to Baal Peor, and consecrated themselves to the thing of shame, and became detestable to the thing they loved. Ephraim's glory shall fly away like a bird. No birth, no pregnancy, no conception. Even if they bring up children, I will bereave them till none is left. Woe to them when I depart from them. Hello, Mom. Thank you for joining in. Ephraim, as I have seen, was like a young palm planted in the meadow. But Ephraim must lead his children out to the slaughter. Give them, O Lord, what will you give? Give them a miscarried womb and dry breasts. Every evil of theirs is in Gilgal. There I began to hate them because of the wickedness of their deeds. I will drive them out of my house. I will love them no more. All their princes are rebels. Ephraim is stricken, their root is dried up, they shall bear no fruit. Even though they give birth, I will put their beloved children to death. My God will reject them, because they have not listened to him. They shall be wanderers among the nations. In chapter 10. Now this is pretty harsh, so at the end we're going to talk about it a little bit. Hosea chapter 10. Israel is a luxuriant vine that yields its fruit. The more his fruit increased, the more altars he built, as his country improved. He improved his pillars. Their heart is false. Now they must bear their guilt. The Lord will break down their altars and destroy their pillars. For now they will say, we have no king. For we do not fear the Lord, and a king, what could he do for us? They utter mere words, with empty oaths they make covenants. So judgment springs up like poisonous weeds in the furrows of the field. The inhabitants of Samaria tremble for the calf of Bethaven. Its people mourn for it, and so do its idolatrous priests. Those who rejoice over it and over its glory, for it has departed from them. The thing itself shall be carried away to Assyria as tribute to the great king. Ephraim shall be put to shame, and Israel shall be ashamed of his idol. Samaria's king shall perish, like a twig on the face of the waters. The high places of Avon, the sin of Israel shall be destroyed. The thorn and thistle shall grow up on their altars. They shall say to the mountains, cover us, and to the hills, fall on us. From the days of Gibeah you have sinned, O Israel. There you have continued. Shall not the war against the unjust overtake them in Gibeah? When I please, I will discipline them. The nations shall be gathered against them, when they are bound up for their double iniquity. Ephraim was a trained calf that loved to thresh, and I spared her fair neck. But I will put Ephraim to the yoke. Judah must plow. Jacob must harrow for himself. Sow for yourselves righteousness. Reap steadfast love. Break up for your fallow ground, for it is the time to seek the Lord, that he may come and rain righteousness upon you. You have plowed iniquity, you have reaped injustice. You have eaten the fruit of lies, because you have trusted in your own way, and in the multitude of your warriors. Therefore the tumult of war shall arise among your people, and all your fortresses shall be destroyed. As Shalman destroyed Beth Arbel on the day of battle, mothers were dashed to pieces with their children. Thus it shall be done to you, O Bethel, because of your great evil. At dawn the king of Israel shall be utterly cut off. There are a lot of harsh words in that can be confusing and difficult for us to read. But what I want to remind you about is that God was very patient with Israel for many years. I just finished reading the Pentateuch, which is the first 5 books of the Bible. Hey Brenda, it's nice of you to drop in. Thank you so much for joining in. We just read Hosea 5 through 10, just to catch you up. So anyway, I just finished reading the Pentateuch, which is the first 5 books of the Bible. And in Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy, those books tell the story of Israel disobeying God. Time after time, as they're wandering through the wilderness, God tells them to do one thing and they do the next. And then when something bad happens, they cry out to God for mercy and God forgives them. That just didn't happen during that time. But during the time of Joshua and during the times after that, all the way up until this point in the Bible, which has been hundreds of years, the people have been disobeying God. And God finally, as we see in the New Testament, God hands them over to their sin. God lets their sin overtake them because that's what they chose instead of him. And this was the result. So it's difficult for us to read these things, to hear these things from the God that we see as so loving and so amazing. But we need to remember all of the disobedience they did before this, that this is what they chose. As you've heard some people say before us talking about that answer, how could God send people to hell? Love is a consensual thing. Love is something that God offers us, but we have to accept it. God can't force us into his love. So when they choose not to love God, God gives them over to what they decided to do. And in this case, that resulted in ruin for them. So that was about all I had to read today, Hosea 1-5. Thank you so much for joining in. And I'm going to try and do this every Wednesday at 9:30. I'll try and stick to a study time, and I'll try to post it earlier in the morning on Facebook so that you guys can see it. Right now, I want to read through the 12, which are what we call the minor prophets. That word minor doesn't necessarily mean less important. What it means is that they're smaller. I know that can be a little bit confusing. So we're going to read through the 12, but occasionally we're just going to take interruptions and maybe do some prayer times or do some other things like that so that we can spend time together in God's Word. Thank you guys so much, and you have a nice day. Bye.